Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ba'd. The next chapter, I'll give you the chapter title, is Babun fi nahi an tanaji ithnaini duna thalith. The next hadith in this chapter is about two people speaking privately or secretly without including the third person. So, hadith is وعن ابن عمر رضي الله عنهما أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال. So the Messenger of Allah said, إذا كانوا ثلاثة فلا يتناجى اثنان دون الثالث. When there are three people, two of them should not hold a secret conversation in that gathering, excluding the third person. متفق عليه. This is a hadith in Bukhari and Muslim. So we've seen this hadith before. We talked about the rationale behind it, is that, the other person is going to feel excluded. You're having some secret conversation. The other person is not being involved. So this is not good adab. This is not good etiquette. It's not good manners. Good manners is to have respect for the other person. And this not only applies when you're having a secret conversation, but it's when you start shifting into another language. And this is an issue with other people. You have three people, and two of you speak Bengali, and then you start going off in the language and the other person doesn't get it, and they get frustrated and they leave, or they feel like left out. So this we've covered before, and it's an important hadith. What I want to cover here is the way in which some of the scholars understood the hadith and asked questions about it. So right afterwards, Imam al-Nawawi puts another narration. He said, Warahu Abu Dawood wa zada. Abu Dawood narrates the same hadith, but he adds an addition. He said, Qala Abu Salih, Qultu li ibn Umar, fa-arba'a. So Abu Dawood says that there was a man by the name of Abu Salih who went to the narrator of the hadith, who is Abdullah ibn Umar, who is a Sahabi. He's a companion. The Prophet, he's the son of Umar. Umar is a Sahabi, but also his son was a companion, a Sahabi as well. So Abu Salih goes to Ibn Umar, who narrates the hadith. He says, I have a question. فَأَرْبَعَ. What if there's four people? The hadith says two people cannot hold secret conversation if there's a third person there. What if there's four people? Can two people hold a secret conversation? Because then the other person has somebody else to talk to. So they're basically taking their group of four and they're splitting it up. Would that be okay? قال لا يضرك. Abdullah ibn Umar said, that wouldn't harm you. Meaning that, yes, that is permissible. And then he mentions another narration. Muwatta. I'm not going to go into the details of this. But now, as I've told you before, we're covering this book, Riyadh al-Salihin. Imam al-Nawawi, his commentary is usually contained in the chapter title. So I didn't read you the whole chapter title. The whole chapter title is Babun fi nahi an tanaja ithnaini duna thalith. The prohibition of two people speaking secretly and excluding the third person, بِغَيْرِ إِذْنِهِ, without his permission, إِلَّا لِحَاجَةٍ, except for some need, وَهُوَ أَن يَتَحَدَّثَ سِرًّا بِحَيْثُ لَا يَسْمَعُهُمَا وَفِي مَعْنَاهُ مَا إِذَا تَحَدَّثَ بِلِسَانٍ لَا يَفْهَمُ. So he goes and he gives this explanation, and he says, if there's a reason to do it, if there's some need to do it, it's an exception to the rule. And he gives an example of these two people, they start speaking separately where the other two, are unable to hear it. When he says, and the same the same type of scenario that's involved is if the other two start speaking in a language that the third person doesn't hear. This is really interesting because Imam al-Nawawi lived about 700 years ago. And today we have this issue more because in America, we have such a diverse community. Every masjid, most masjids you go into, you have like 40 different nationalities, 50 different countries. People speak many different languages. So it's not just an American thing. This is something that used to happen in the past as well. And the scholars were commenting on exactly the same thing that sometimes we face and we need a reminder once in a while. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to have the best adab and the best manners with other people. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to always be considerate of our brothers and sisters and other people. Ameen wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum.